On Answers for Living, we're looking at the big question, why does the mundane matter? Today we're going to look at the question, how does the mundane fit into the abundant life Jesus promised? John chapter 10 verse 10 says, I came that they might have life and have it abundantly. Well, let me tell you what the abundant life isn't. It isn't an easy life. John 16:33 says, These things I've spoken to you so that you may have peace. In the world you have tribulation, but take courage, I've overcome the world. So in this life, we're going to have trouble. We're in the abundant life, therefore includes trouble. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 12 says, All who desire to live godly in Christ Jesus will be persecuted. We'll put those two verses together, and we're going to have illness and financial struggles and relationship issues and wayward children. And if you're a godly person, you're going to face persecution from those that are outside of the faith. And you may even face persecution from Christians. And we don't see that as the abundant life, but the abundant life will include these things. But I also want you to understand the abundant life might not even be fully experienced in this lifetime. The abundant life isn't just about this short lifespan, but it includes all the way from here through eternity. Hebrews 11 is a chapter of great men and women of the faith. And when you read chapter 11, you really get pumped up. But let me just read for you, though, some verses from chapter 11. And what more shall I say? For time will fail if I tell of Gideon and Barak and Samson and Jephthah and David and Samuel and the other prophets who by faith conquered kingdoms, performed acts of righteousness, obtained promises, shut the mouths of lions, and quenched the power of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, from weakness were made strong, became mighty in war, put foreign armies to flight, and women who received back their dead by resurrection. And you go, wow, that's real exciting. Well, it goes on. Very next verse says, and others were tortured, not accepting their release, so that they may obtain a better resurrection. And others experienced mockings and scourgings, yes, also chains and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn in two, they were tempted, they were put to death with the sword, they went about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, ill-treated, men with whom the world is not worthy, wandering in deserts and mountains and caves and holes in the ground. All these, having gained approval through their faith, did not receive what was promised, because God had provided something better for us, so that apart from us would not be made perfect. Okay, God said, print this. All the great things that happened to men of faith, and all the terrible things that happened to men of faith. Question. It said they did this looking for something that was much better. What's the better? The answer was heaven. The promises of God aren't just for this life, but they also include eternity. We really need to develop the power of delayed gratification. We have to sit back and say, not all the promises that God has made are going to be fulfilled in my lifetime, but they will be fulfilled because God has made the promise. If I don't learn this type of delayed gratification, then I'm going to be tempted to do finances my way, marriage my way, relationships my way, business my way, parenting my own way. And I'm going to miss out what God has in store for me if I do life His way. You might say to me, hey Dave, I tried God's way for 8 months, but nothing changed. And God says, keep on doing life my way. It will pay off.